here's the deal with having little or no experience. I get ripped on by other bookkeepers with a lot of experience. Like, they always say, I have 25 years of experience. I would hate to have my books in the hands of somebody who's just starting out. And I don't even argue with them. I just, I don't even comment back. But what they don't realize is they started at a point in their lives where they had never had a client before. That's where everybody starts. Everybody that does tax returns started, and let's say their experience, they started at a point in time in their lives where they had never done a tax return before. Same with bookkeeping. There's a time, experienced bookkeepers that are complaining, they started at a point in time in their life where they had never done bookkeeping before. Everybody has to start everything from the beginning, from scratch, from zero. So the purpose of what I teach is that you don't have to know everything to start. You don't have to be an advanced bookkeeper before you start bookkeeping. You don't have to be an advanced tax preparer to start preparing taxes. You can start small, start simple. It's not a brick and mortar business where you open the doors and then everybody that comes in you have to help. No, a bookkeeping business and a tax prep business are businesses that you control the volume of business that you get. And in the beginning, you control that with one client. You get just one client and you work on that one client. And then when you feel comfortable with that, you get the next client and so on. So that's how it builds. It builds I recommend starting very slowly. I recommend starting with easy clients. Now, easy clients are those that, let's say for bookkeeping, it's typically a service-based company, which means they just perform a service. They don't sell things. They just perform a service. Those types of businesses are extremely easy to do bookkeeping with. They typically, and also we want like a mom and pop kind of beginning easy client to start with, because they have very little amount of transactions, money coming in and money going out of the business, which is what your job as a bookkeeper would be, to track those transactions. They have a small amount of transactions, and the transactions that they have are very common and very easy. So they're not complex things that require journal entries and stuff like that. So it's all about starting small, starting easy. Now, the same thing, I'm going to bounce back and forth between bookkeeping and taxes along the way. Same thing with taxes. Taxes can be extremely simple. I can do a tax return in 5 minutes if it's an easy tax return. There are tax returns that I do that take 4 hours. So I prefer the easy ones, but you take, along the way you grow and your experience grows and you can take on more complicated things, which you charge more for, obviously. But in the beginning, you want to do those super easy tax returns. So, and an example of a super easy tax return is an individual that just has one job or two jobs. So they get a W-2. I think everybody knows what that is. And or they have working 2-3 different jobs and they have 2-3 different W-2s. You plug that into the tax software. It's so easy. Once you get familiar with the tax software, you can do a tax return like that in 5 minutes. So that's what I preach in all of my courses, that you have to start small. You don't try to do complicated things in the beginning. It's a learn as you go, just in time. You learn just in time the information you need. I'm always researching. If a tax return comes in that is complicated, even experienced, very, very, very experienced. I've been doing it for about 20 years, but I know CPAs that have been doing it for 50 years, and they still have to research stuff because you don't see everything all the time. You don't see certain situations, like complex situations. You don't see those all the time or ever in your life, and then they come up. They're very unique situations, and even they have to research stuff. So it's a humbling profession in a way that you will never ever learn everything, know everything, because you simply don't see everything. And but it's about knowing where to look and who to ask, that kind of stuff. And in today's age, it's really easy to find people or information on the internet to answer your questions. So it's nothing to be afraid of. Like, starting is nothing to be afraid of, because you can start so simple and small. And you start with one client. And then, like for bookkeeping, you just get one client, an easy client. It allows you to take the time to learn the software, to learn what you're doing, get efficient with what you're doing, maybe do 2-3 months of, this is all individual preference, of course, but you could do 2 or 3 months of bookkeeping for that one client before you pick up a second client. That's how you can dial it at any speed you want. You can just come out, get as many clients as you can right off the bat, and deal with it that way too. It's all personal preference. So there's not one way to do it, but I do recommend you start easy. And if you start easy, that's how you can start with little to no experience. So now